Hello, everybody. No countdown today. It disappeared, and we didn't figure out how to get it back until we were ready to start. So here we are.
Probably my fault.
Well, okay. So
I'm
Lindsay,
new
I was
here.
so impressed with how you played a video clip last week.
That's probably why we don't have the countdown anymore.
But it worked. It was like technology was your friend.
Yeah, we're not BFFs, but it decided to be more friendly last week.
Well, you told it who's boss.
I failed at the countdown timer, and now it's punishing us by not letting us have a countdown timer. So,
oh goodness.
Who really knows?
Yes. Cindy is here. Good morning,
Hi, Miss
Cindy.
Cindy.
And Risa is here. Good morning.
Hi.
If you're watching, let us know where you're watching from and say hi in the comments. And definitely ask questions. If you have questions, let us know. We usually don't have anything really prepared. Sometimes we'll be like, oh yeah, we should talk about this or that. We don't have anything prepared today. So if you have a topic you want to discuss, definitely put it into the chat. What do you have in your cup today, Lindsay?
I have decaf black coffee.
Well, surprised. I have energized reds.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Oh, good. So good.
Such a fantastic drink. I love it when it's warm. Yes. Very soothing.
The best warm. I mean, it's good. I'm sure I'll drink it cold more in the summer.
I am sure that I won't.
Yeah.
I will always drink the drinks hot versus cold.
Even water you don't like to be ice cold.
I mean, there are moments when I'm like, yes, I need something cold to drink, but more often than not, I feel better drinking room temperature to hot water instead of just flat out cold water.
Yeah, and I've heard that that's good because our ancestors never had ice water unless they were in the Arctic or something.
I feel like that then I should probably drink colder water because I've got a lot of Nordic blood.
Right. Well, and then Jeff likes to talk about doing an internal cold plunge.
I just don't like it. I just don't.
But you like keto chow cold, right?
I will. Yeah. I mean, I have to think about it. I'm like, I really like it hot, but then it's great cold, but I really like to turn it into a steamer instead of it being always ice cold. I do prefer it to be just from the fridge cold versus turning it into a slushy or not slushy, a milkshake kind of coldness. So there's that.
You like it as ice cream, right?
Yeah, I do like it as ice cream, but I also tend to need to drink something warm alongside it whenever I do have it as ice cream.
Oh, that's funny.
Tell me you're high maintenance without telling me you're high maintenance.
Charlotte is here, and Nancy's here from Queens, New York, and Blaze is here.
Hi, Blaze.
Yvonne is here from Tyler, Texas.
I know where that is.
Ooh, found my first open honeysuckles yesterday. It's finally spring. So wonderful. Okay, so our cherry tree is in bloom right now, probably peak beauty.
Are you capturing all the little video clips of it?
I haven't yet. I need to. I need to. But I was like, last year, I remember coming home from KetoCon and being happy that I didn't miss it because it just started. And I was like, spring came so much earlier this year because that was at the end of April.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely felt like an early spring here. In fact, weather-wise, just to go off on, that tangent, the past couple of days have been insane here in Ohio. And I'm sure all through Kentucky. So, and what else? West Virginia and in the Carolinas, Tennessee, all those places had massive tornado issues. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with Ryan Hall, y'all, but I was glued to his live stream yesterday. Fortunately, we didn't get hit with anything other than torrential downpours. In fact, we've got some drainage rocks in our front yard that kind of help to funnel the water to the drain system. And you can usually, even in heavy rain, you can usually see the tops of the rocks with no issue. I couldn't see them at all. It was banana sandwich.
Wow.
And we had rivers of water flowing through our yard in areas where it was, low. And I was just thinking, my goodness, it's coming.
So yesterday it was 70 degrees and gorgeous.
Well, it was like almost 70 here, at certain points, but that just meant more opportunity for the tornadoes. But yes, I am jealous of the beauty weather.
Yes. Well, so I always can know when spring is early or late based on the lilacs, because they often, if it's a pretty normal year, they'll come right at my birthday, which is April 28th. And they're about to bloom right now, and it's only April 3rd. So it's definitely early. And last year they were late. It was way after my birthday. So
yeah.
Crazy. Kel is here. Hello. Beth is here. Good morning. Risa is busy eating fried hard-boiled eggs and bacon. That sounds like a good day.
Sounds like a fantastic meal.
Just finished Starbucks. Oh my goodness. It's like a beautiful day. Rickwin is here. Hello. Hayden is here. Rickwin says, we don't usually get honeysuckles until May, but we have violets in the grass blooming. Yes, I noticed that my little violets in the front are blooming. The daffodils are almost done already, which is crazy. Oh, my tulips are blooming.
Growing up, my grandparents had honeysuckle shrubs all along their fence line, and it was the best time in the world whenever you could go and just like pluck honeysuckle after honeysuckle and just suck all of the honeysuckle nectar out of them. Those were the days.
Yes, we had a honeysuckle.
Trigger me now.
Yeah, we have had a honeysuckle at my house growing up too, and I remember, or maybe it was in a neighbor's house or something. I don't know. I just remember being so excited to taste it.
I know.
When you're a kid and you can like find something in the wild that you're able to eat or whatever, it's like so exciting.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. The kids have been hunting for morel mushrooms. Haven't found any yet, but hopefully at some point. Oh, high of 83 in Las Vegas. Nice.
Sounds pretty cool for the desert.
Yeah. Hayden says it was 58 in Phoenix a couple days ago. We are hanging on to winter as long as possible. 58 sounds not bad.
Yeah.
Especially in Phoenix.
Yeah, but I feel like the Arizonians, they tend to prefer their hot, dry weather.
Yes. Okay. Treyfus. There it is. If you start selling your eggs, please let us know. Yeah, we sell them to friends locally, and the plan has always been to get a egg stand set up. And we're like, we're gonna do it. And then Jeff was doing some research and found that the government is cracking down on small farms doing that kind of thing. And so now we're like, I don't know about that. So that's on hold.
You really have to decide, is the red tape worth it?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not.
It's hard. So, yeah. Okay. Cindy says that they had a tornado watch until 10 p.m. Those downpours and high winds, thankfully no damage. Oof.
That is a huge win.
Yes.
I was sending a Marco Polo to my husband. I said, do you see this? Do you see how this rain is coming down? And he said, whoa, that's intense. He said, I'm never going to get to cut the grass.
Jeff was saying that we had snow in the forecast at some point soon. I don't see it right now, but the weather's just been nuts.
The weather has been absolutely crazy.
Yes.
Without a doubt. I don't know. I feel like we're probably not going to be having cold weather much longer. Yeah. I could be wrong, but that's just sort of what my gut tells me.
I'm excited for an early spring. Brenda says windy and rainy here in, what is that? Ocala, California, Florida. Oh, my brain's
Ocala is kind of like up the coast of Florida, the eastern coast of Florida, kind of midway up, maybe. If I'm thinking of it right.
Okay. She's asking about coffee. I've heard coffee is bad and then coffee is good. What gives? Oh man.
We've heard that too.
If we had $1 for everything that they say is bad and then say is good, I mean, we'd be pretty rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your take on coffee, Lindsay? Is it good or bad? It has to be a black or white answer.
It tastes amazing, therefore it's good.
Yeah. I think individuality is important to take into consideration.
For sure.
Not everything is good for every person. Not everything is bad for every person. And there are a lot of reasons to believe that coffee is really good for you. There's lots of different studies on different things about, longevity and all different stuff, blood sugar, I believe, all different stuff saying that coffee can be good for you.
Yeah.
But depending on where you're starting at, there are other reasons why it could be bad for you. So, if you're struggling with adrenal stuff, I had been dealing with high heart rate and I found that coffee was raising my heart rate even more. And so I was like, that was bad for me at that moment. So it really depends on, I don't think there is a black or white answer of yes or no. It really depends.
Well, and I also think that it boils down to like, what is your objective? Are you trying to drink coffee because of like antioxidant properties, but then you're also trying to avoid it because of excessive caffeine intake or, adrenal stress and that kind of stuff? So it's like, which piece of the puzzle is more important to you in that moment? For me, I just enjoy the coffee all the time. And so I do tend to drink not plenty, but I tend to drink a lot of the coffee as decaf just to sort of reduce that caffeine intake. But I think a lot of people who drink coffee or who say that coffee is bad, they may also be not considering the fact that a lot of people put stuff into coffee.
Oh, sure.
And then they kind of conflate like, okay, coffee is bad, but not realize like, oh, well, this is meaning like coffee with cream and sugar.
Yeah. Or with all these pumps of syrup and stuff.
Right. So it's like you have to really take the time to parse out, is this a single ingredient like coffee, drip coffee, or just brewed coffee or espresso that's nothing added kind of a thing? Or is it doctored up in, a fun, fanciful way?
Yes.
Because I think that coffee is bad if you dump piles of sugar in it in order to make it palatable.
Right.
And I think that you got to consider those variables. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Other variables to consider is, organic versus not organic. And apparently coffee can have mycotoxins, mold. So if you're sensitive to that, then coffee could be bad because of that for you individually. And so, like Lindsay said, you have to consider all of the different variables. And for one person, that might not be a big deal. For another person, it's, the difference between health and not health.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely that. Jared just actually got back from Costa Rica recently, and he bought some Costa Rican coffee.
Ooh,
so
nice.
We're getting to experience that.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So my friend she's my neighbor. And we've, started exercising together and stuff. And she has her own coffee roaster.
Oh,
and she gave me a bag of freshly roasted coffee. It was so good. It was so good.
I think that we tend to, like pick something up off the shelf, based on whatever it is that we believe we like. But the idea of getting freshly roasted coffee is so foreign. I know we have a coffee roaster. How about a coffee roaster company here in my town? But they tend to be more wholesale kind of a focus. So you have to buy a lot of coffee in order for it to like even let you order things. So there's that. Also, did Thomas DeLauer, did you see that he put out a video recently about like the longest living people on the planet?
I saw a video, I don't know, a month or two ago. I remember you telling me about, and I watched that one. Is that the same one or is this more recent?
No, this one just came out like a day or two, maybe 3 days ago. Excuse me. Basically, people in Costa Rica live the longest.
Oh, and it's got to be the coffee.
All things considered, like good coffee, purpose in life. They still eat things like black beans, ate tons of black beans, which I would struggle eating a lot of black beans. But they tend to eat heavy breakfast or large breakfast, moderate lunch, light dinner, but then they also have, they have a lot of, purpose-driven activity. So anyway, I just thought it was great that my husband just got back from Costa Rica and he was like, man, it was so great there. I, can't wait to take you there someday. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, isn't that where Paul Saladino moved to, live his best life?
Oh.
So checks out.
Someday we might retire down there. Who knows?
Sounds awesome.
Actually, that's probably not real. We'll probably just retire to a boat and just sail the world.
Well, you can do that in Costa Rica.
We sure could. He did get to go fishing. He saw some really awesome things, but never actually caught anything. But it was a really great experience.
That's awesome. Yeah. Beth says favorite spring flower is lily of the valley.
Pretty.
Oh my gosh, spring is so great. Yvonne says in Germany they're called Maybells. Interesting. Oh, okay. So did you see the Keto Chow April Fool's video?
I asked Chris directly, what was that? I didn't say it in that phrase, like that terminology, but I was like, so did y'all have your April Fool's joke like pre-sorted, or did it happen after we kind of fleshed all the things out? And he said, actually, that was such and such from creative team. He just came up with it. And I'm like, that means he probably.
I don't believe a word of it. So for anyone that is unaware, we on a live stream, like a month or 2 months ago,
I feel like it was probably a month ago. Yeah.
That sounds right. We were talking about a keto board game and how amazing it would be. And we were having all these ideas about what you would do in this board game. Well, Keto Chow comes out with their April Fool's video, and it's an ad for a keto board game called Keto Quest. So, I really feel like we should get some royalties from all the money they're making on this.
Well, not only that, but like quest is like my word. I choose to use the word quest over journey always.
Yes.
Every time I'm like, it's a quest because it's a battle. It's not just a stroll in the park and you don't know where you're going to end up. You don't know what you're going to face. It's a quest, and it feels so much more active and powerful. And there they go, using the word quest in the name. And I have a lot of feelings.
Rich off of our ideas.
It's kind of like whenever we said that the Ninja Creamy needed to be in Keto Chow colors. And they were like, you remember that? And they were like, oh yeah, QVC, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so then I also told Chris, so what I understand that you're not saying, but you're kind of saying, is that me and Nili get to be on the creative team henceforth and forevermore.
Yeah. We're idea people.
We are fantastic at ideas. We have zero skills in execution, but we can ideate all the time.
Exactly. Okay. So speaking of Keto Chow, Beth is thinking of trying Keto Chow and asking what we recommend, the variety pack or ... Okay. I think the starter kit is a great choice.
It is. It really is. I can't shift away from the screen without going dark.
Oh yeah.
But the starter kit, there's a couple of different options with the starter kit. Like there's the essentials starter kit, which only has like maybe, was it 6 flavors? And then there is the, I can't remember the next name or the other one, but there's a larger variety on the starter kit. But seriously, the starter kit is the best way to go, in my opinion, just because you get to try a broad variety of their core line. Not core, that's the wrong word.
They're main.
They're always in stock line. And going with that and finding the flavors that you love the most. Chocolate is always a winner.
Okay, so you can do a custom starter kit now.
That's where you remember that.
Your own flavors. And then you can do the essential starter kit. That looks like it has 6 maybe. Yeah. And then the premium starter kit has maybe 9. And then the elite starter kit has 15.
Yeah.
And if you've never ordered from Keto Chow, I believe you can get those at a real cheap discount. When you go
so inexpensive to start.
56% off on the the essentials starter kit.
And I want to say it winds up being like $29 after tax, or $29 before taxes. Is that what it is? I know you don't get it if like you've ever placed an order with Keto Chow before. the essentials kit is not going to be the absolute rock bottom price. So
right.
If you've never made a purchase before, then
you can get it for $19.99 if you've never ordered from Keto Chow before.
And you also
Regular
get the shaker bottle.
$43.
Yeah.
And you get a free $5 credit on there for your next order too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's a great way to try it out with a very low risk.
I'm sorry, I'm watching the comments a little bit.
Hey, we got to do it every time.
We sure do. I'm not.
And Chris says they're making so much money from that April Fool's joke. I knew it.
I knew it too.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
We're just shaking our finger at you, Chris Bear. Like it's one of these.
There you go. Coffee good, fire bad, but you need fire to make coffee. So I don't know.
As long as fire represents heat.
Exactly. I mean, electricity is fire.
That's valid. It's true. It's all very true.
Okay. Let's see.
Hayden told us that the video is officially like logging our oh no, not that one. I'm so much worse at this than you are. We do have validation. Yes. It is 100% our idea first. 100%. There's no denying it.
You know what? Like we've already discussed, we are not executors. So we had the idea, they executed, that's the way it should be. Because Lord knows we're not going to do it.
I've got so many other things on my plate that are like necessary.
Okay, so Hayden,
these people in the house, they chirp for food, and I have to make sure that they've got access to the food. It's a lot.
Every single day they want food again.
Multiple times per day. It's not good enough to just like feed them once and then move on with our lives. No,
seriously,
they're constantly chirping.
Yes. All right. Coffee is bad, coming from an avid British tea drinker.
Listen, you are welcome to have all the tea as long as I can have all the coffee.
Exactly. See,
we can live in harmony.
If we were all the same, there wouldn't be enough coffee.
Especially not whenever I get my hands on it.
Ron's Keto Cafe is here. Hello.
How's it going, Ron?
Ron says, I drink 3 cups of coffee a day, only broke it off once. It's a good idea to stop every once in a while, just to, confirm to yourself that it's either, good or bad or whatever. I went off coffee, recently. I've done it many times, but recently I did for 3 months. And I kept thinking, because people say your energy will get better. Like once you get off of it and are really detoxed, then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I have so much more energy. I sleep so much better. That did not happen for me at all. And so I'm like, but it's good to know that, because otherwise I'd, have in the back of my mind, if I just give up this coffee, then XYZ would happen. But now I've confirmed to myself that actually that's not necessarily true for me. It could be true for someone else.
Right.
So, and you don't know until you try it. That's it.
It's valid and fair, but also like I find that I am so much more like relaxed when I drink coffee.
See, some people don't find that. Some people find it makes them more anxious and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the individuality.
That's right.
Yeah, I do think I am a fast metabolizer.
Sure.
Because you can't get that tested in some DNA tests and stuff, which I've not done. But because it is that I'm a fast metabolizer, because it's never affected my sleep negatively. I mean, unless I like have some right before bed, then it might, but I just don't do that. But drinking it earlier in the day, I sleep great when I'm drinking coffee. So I'm like, it's just not me. Might be someone else, not me.
Yeah, that's also me. I tend to be more just like capable of not being bounced off the walls like crazy whenever I've got a sufficient volume of coffee.
Well, it is interesting that people that struggle with ADD find coffee to be more relaxing rather than stimulating.
Right, right. Stimulants having the opposite effect and all that jazz.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
But I'm sure there's also other studies that would show, well, that's because you're just in flat out adrenal fatigue. So it doesn't matter what you do, you're just going to feel like, bleh.
Exactly. Exactly. You can never win. Hayden says that the starter packs are a good way to start at the beginning. Yeah, and you get the shaker bottle, which is
Yeah,
great to have. So definitely, especially because it's so cheap. It's like take advantage of the opportunity to be a brand new customer and get that deal.
that's
Why
right.
not? Rickwin says, yes, a cuppa can be good sometimes, but Americans seem to be stuck on coffee. It is true. I mean, it's not only Americans. I mean, coffee is all over the world, but yes, Americans do love
I'm
coffee.
sure South Americans, they're also pretty into the coffee since they grow it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, espresso in Italy, like coffee is a worldwide thing.
Yes.
It is amazing
Universal.
how bad of coffee Americans settle for, though.
Yeah.
That's concerning. Gas station coffee and such.
Or like fast food restaurant coffee.
Yes.
You also think like some diners, like we don't eat out very often, but having to eat out whenever you're traveling and stuff like that, you try to pick like an actual sit down restaurant instead of just like a drive through spot. And you think, okay, a little mom and pop spot, maybe they'll have good coffee. I can't tell you the number of places we've been where it's like, okay, we expect them to have good coffee, and it was just like brown water.
Yes. Oh, I've experienced that. It's so disappointing too.
You're like, you put half the amount of grounds that were necessary for this to become coffee.
Yes. Oh, and then it's the worst when they bring out those little cups of like coffee mate. You're like, can I have some cream? And they bring this like, oh, it's very sad.
Well, we just don't do that. Well,
So I
Sarah and
understand
just
when
like,
people
make
make
it
fun of
black.
Americans and their coffee if they're talking about that, for sure. Although I'm from Oregon, close to Portland, and Portland knows how to do coffee. So
Oh yeah.
there's that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember whenever we were there, living there, like you couldn't go 2/10 of a mile before running into a little shack with a
Yeah.
coffee drive through, and the
Yes.
line like snaking through a parking lot for,
Yes.
a quarter mile. It was amazing. Every single one of them. They all know how to do coffee, and they know
Yeah.
that the competition is stiff, so they had better be making good coffee.
Yeah, and somehow they're still in business. They're all still in business.
Yeah.
There have been multiple people that I've known personally that have started coffee roasting companies, like, locally. It's just funny. So many people in Portland are
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, coffee is the way to get rich."
Coffee is the right commodity to choose. We're gonna just
Oh, it's
dig
great.
in and rake in those profits.
Yeah. Well, it's addictive. I mean, let's be honest. So that's always good for your if your commodity is addictive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chris needs to work on that with keto chow. I mean, I guess it's addictive, but I don't know what specifically. Add caffeine, add something a little bit more addictive, profits would go. See, ideas. Ideas.
I feel like there's some negatives to adding caffeine to to things. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Eesh. Because there's like people take caffeine pills on purpose
Yes.
for things, and it's like you can really get yourself into a pickle if you get a little too far gone on some of those things.
Pickles is another thing that Portlanders are good at. Artisan pickles. We've got all the good stuff here. Probably sourdough, kombucha. Oh, so much kombucha here,
So much kombucha.
which is fantastic. Yeah, artisan kombucha.
Artisanal.
Exactly.
Gotta have
Let's see.
those feels.
Let's see. Brenda says, "Thank you for the coffee answer. I only use heavy whipping cream and stevia for 1 cup." I mean, if it's working for you, that's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, even at just a single cup of coffee, I would argue that that's a negligible amount for the typical person to become a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, reasons I've looked into, not having coffee for my own health is tannins in coffee can hinder the absorption of some things. So, I mean, if you're having certain issues, you might think about having coffee at a different time of the day or cutting it out completely. Like there's different reasons and they don't affect everybody. Like, so the tannins can hinder iron absorption. So if you're struggling with iron deficiency, it would make sense to, think about coffee that way. If you're struggling with hemochromatosis where you have way too much, then maybe coffee would be a huge benefit to you. So you got to know where you're starting from. There's not a blanket. It's not like high fructose corn syrup where you're just like, that's bad for
blanket statement, not
hydrogenated oils, bad for everybody.
Not
we
good.
Can just say that. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Charlotte went on a coffee tour in Costa Rica. That sounds amazing.
Right. Definitely on the list of to go experience.
Oh, speaking of tours, I just confirmed with Redmond Real Salt that when we are in Utah, we're going to get to do a salt mine tour. Woohoo! So I've confirmed it, for our family, and hopefully Lindsay and her family will be there in time and it'll all work out for us all to go together. That hasn't been 100% confirmed yet, but at least our family will be doing that. So, and I'm planning on vlogging the trip. So definitely going to be sharing that. It's going to be so cool.
It is my serious. That's like serious and sincere mixed up together. My most sincere desire that we are able to make it there in time. And it is my most sincere desire that all of the Murphy clan will be able to make our trek to Utah together.
Yes, that will be
We're working diligently on that.
Yes, for anyone that hasn't heard, we will be going to Utah for the Keto Chow meetup. September. Oh my gosh. May 17th. I was thinking 17th and I just said the month that started with that. Okay. Told you my brain's not braining. Anyways, May 17th. If you're going to be in or around the Utah Salt Lake City area, definitely come. We'd love to meet you.
Please.
Yes. Oh, okay. So Hayden says Americans think Lipton is tea. Yeah. So same as the coffee thing we were talking about. Americans probably do tea badly too.
I don't think probably is the right qualifier there. I think we definitely do tea badly.
Yes. So it's understandable.
I mean, we went to Scotland and one of the people we were traveling with, she drank tea in Scotland every single day, was obsessed with it, came back stateside, tried drinking tea, and she was like, this is not tea. I don't know what this is, but that's not it. And I'm all done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So my husband doesn't like coffee, never has. And when he was a kid, yeah, exactly. When he was a kid, he was at a restaurant with his family and his dad had like dark black coffee and it sat and got cold. And his brother dared him to like take a big spoonful of it. And of course he did. And then from then on, he's like, never. And you're like, you can't judge coffee on that, like cold diner coffee when you're a kid. It's just not fair. But it ruined it for him forever.
Does he like the smell of the coffee grounds on their own? Like just to smell the whiff of coffee? Is that pleasant to him?
He's never said so. I don't understand how it couldn't be, but he has never admitted, as far as I remember, that he likes it.
My oldest, she loves to smell the coffee grounds, but she's like, I would never taste that.
Yeah.
Why? I'm like,
yeah. My dad never has drunk coffee either, and he says he likes the smell, but he just doesn't like the taste.
Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. Gotta get caught up on the comments.
Ooh. So many comments.
Finally got a Ninja Creamy. That is awesome. And it's perfect timing because to have it through the summer, it's the best way to go. I haven't used it a lot recently, but I know I will as soon as summer comes around.
I need to actually go replenish our creamies in our freezer. I think I have 7 total containers. I'm not as cool as Chris Bear with having, 8,000.
Who is though?
But 7 containers. I need to refill, replen, get a few different flavors going. That way we've got
I'm annoyed because I have some prepped in the freezer that I can't have right now
because of the dairy.
Because I'm off the dairy.
I did not mean to thumbs up that.
I need a thumbs down for that one. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be released to have some dairy again, and then I can have my keto chow ice cream. I have made some of the core with coconut milk, but it's not the same. It's just not.
Valid. Much valid. Speaking of being released to consume dairy, are things going well with your program? With training?
Well, it's kind of been I missed last week because last week was the day that I went to the doctor and then ended up doing all kinds of tests to find out if I was dying for the rest of the day. And so that was the day I was supposed to have my call. And so trying to get all that figured out.
Right.
I'm having a call today with Jonathan after all of that. And I feel like we're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
You know, because like he had me on some macros and I was so hungry. And I was like, I can't. And then come to find out there's a reason why I'm so hungry. And so like we're gonna have to talk about the macros and like and then so it's kind of annoying because it's like I want to make these changes and see how I feel, but like I'm on a medication. I'm like that's supposed to be changed. Like my appetite should be changing, like it should be going down. So like I can't just so it's kind of frustrating to not be able to make those connections.
Yeah.
But he's going to help me just like nutritionally get through this and then go from there. So anyways, I feel like we started with a certain intention and then things got all mixed up and now we're having to kind of figure it out again. So there you go.
We're going to give 2 thumbs down to that.
Exactly.
Join me right in class.
That's awesome. I haven't seen that one before.
I learned that one on a group video chat maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so. And I was like, well, that's an adventure. I'm going to pull that one out someday.
That's awesome.
Well, so are you still going to attempt the 10K that you've been training towards?
I don't think so.
I'm not thumbs upping that.
I don't think so. It's 3 weeks away and I haven't been able to train. Like I barely started training when all of this went down. And then my doctor was like, you need to keep your heart rate down until this is under control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I don't think it would be a good idea for me to push my body to do that right now. Maybe like after I get through this, then I might look towards something like that. But the timing is just not ideal.
Sure. Are you still able to do any kind of workout? Because you were talking about your neighbor working out and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, now that I'm on the medication, things are starting to normalize. They're not normal yet, but they're starting to. And my doctor just said that I can exercise just to try to keep my heart rate under 150. So, and that, I do have to take it a little easy on some things. But like last night I went to exercise class and we did like a mat Pilates type class. And I was able to do that pretty well. Yeah. I just had to a couple of times, like, take a breath and let my heart rate come down. So yeah.
Sure.
Gotta do what you gotta do to keep yourself
healthy. At least you're still moving forward.
Yeah, I am. And like, I'm just excited to get active again. Cause this last week, well, I mean, she told me to keep my heart rate down. My husband was really concerned. He like sent the kid to the store with me to push the cart. So I didn't, all the things. And I was like,
he's like, I need you in my life.
Yeah, I need you alive.
Please don't jeopardize that.
Exactly. So I was taking it really easy. And then now I've been on the medication for a few days and, that's helping. And so just taking it one day at a time here. Yeah.
And that's all any of us can really do.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Chris Bear is doing fruity cereal Ninja Creamy. That sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah. So, thankfully they sent out the samples for us influencers of the fruity cereal, like way early. Sometimes it's like right before the flavor is released, but we got it a little early. So I was able to taste it before I went dairy free. So if anyone was worried that I went off of my dairy, to taste
your dairy free stint.
I did. Although I have accidentally had dairy, a couple of times. Like, I went with my husband to get bunless burgers. It was after my ultrasound. So I'm like to find out if I had cancer and I'm dying. And then we went out to lunch afterwards and I got a bunless burger. And it wasn't until I was completely finished eating it that I was like, that had cheese on it. Yeah. My brain obviously was not on dairy and diet choices at that moment.
Yeah, and I also like not to be an excuse maker or an enabler or anything, but I think it's pretty reasonable that your brain was preoccupied with other things at that time. I think that's really a reasonable situation,
Oh goodness.
a
And well, and I
reasonable
didn't die,
mistake.
and I had it and I was fine. So there's that.
Yeah, you didn't die. So, hallelujah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I'm like, I've, been off dairy for about 3 weeks and it's like, am I really gonna know if I feel any better or not with all of the other stuff I have going on? It's like,
Well, and it's so hard to pinpoint which variable is the greatest impact on how you feel. There's
yeah.
always 1800 different variables to consider. Is it the time of day that I'm eating it? Is it the food that I'm consuming? Is it the coffee? Is it the lack of coffee? Is it, dairy? Is it not dairy? Am I having too much protein? Is it not enough fat? Is it,
Is it some lifestyle thing that has absolutely nothing to do with food?
right. Am I just stressed out because it's a stressful season of life and there's so many things
Yes.
to do and no time to do it? Or, am I constantly running children to and fro and just barely able to think about sleep?
Oh, it's so tricky. Well, and then the other thing that I've been frustrated about is how symptoms just can be the same for different conditions. So like when I, first started having the heart stuff, I was like, it's obviously iron deficiency. My ferritin just dropped. It is low. I had the same symptoms back when it was low before. Like it made 100% sense that that's what it was. And like, so on my video where I shared about my health stuff, I got so many kind comments. Like it was overwhelming how many kind comments I got. There's always going to be that like 0.5% of people that want to be snarky and stuff. And that's fine. Like that's just normal. But overwhelmingly, like it was so kind. And so I'm very thankful for that. So anybody that, left comments, I'm so grateful. There were a few that were like, you should have gone to the doctor sooner. And I'm like, well, first of all, it takes 3 weeks to get into my doctor because she's very busy.
Yeah.
Second of all, if I had gone in right at the beginning and said, I'm having these heart rate things, my ferritin just dropped again, like, maybe she would have found something different but it's like, how many people go to the doctor and get correctly diagnosed on the
first time
try? So I get it. We should go to our doctors. But in my opinion, if I had gone early on and didn't have those thyroid tests, I can't see it really going a whole lot differently. Maybe it's possible, but
I'm strongly inclined to agree with you on that. I think that whenever you've got symptom A, B, and C, and you go research that, you're like, well, it could just be that I got a splinter, but it also could be cancer.
Right. Well, and then yes. Well, and if you look on Dr. Google, it will definitely be cancer, and you're definitely dying tomorrow. But then also we're like, we want to go with the most obvious, like the most likely. And so when I get these symptoms that I've had before, when I had this ferritin test and my ferritin's back to, close to that level, that's the most obvious answer. So it's like, I'm annoyed that I didn't catch it sooner, but at the same time, I'm like, that just made sense. So it didn't make sense to look for all kinds of other things when that made total sense. And that's frustrating when these symptoms are so similar across different. Well, and then they could have been connected too. Like the low ferritin could have been making the heart stuff worse. Like, anyways.
Oh, for sure. And it's possible that it was a chain reaction. When I was in college, we had to take an aviation safety course because I did an aviation major. And one of the things that they would talk about in accidents when you're going through trying to assess like what happened here. There's like this Swiss cheese theory, or a break in the chain kind of a theory, to where if this one thing in the chain broke, then the accident would not have happened. But not just that one chain, but if that chain was still connected, or that link was still connected, but this link over here was broken, then it wouldn't have happened. But if this link over here right before wouldn't have happened, then the whole thing would not have happened. So it's like, you know, if you just take one tiny piece out, things might have been different. You just never know exactly which chain link is the one that gets that things hinge upon.
Yes. Yes. Hayden is awaiting my pickle coffee and egg stand. Yes.
Could you imagine pickle flavored coffee eggs?
Have you seen there was a video that went viral before Easter of a guy making a recipe for Jello tuna salad. It was like an old, you know, one of those old recipes that is just completely disgusting.
Like the Midwest style Jello salads.
Yeah, so it was like lime Jello with tuna and mayonnaise. And like it was horrible. That was beautiful. So, anyways, pickle coffee egg salad sounds similar. So bad. Well, and he put it into like this lamb mold, like when you make lamb cakes. If you see those, right too. And so he put the Jello into a lamb mold. It was so gross.
I can't. Nope. Yeah. It's a hard no for me. Thanks.
Let's see. Terry says, love your bread recipes. Thanks to you, I made my first loaf. That is awesome. Living
nice.
in the UK, that is so cool. I love it when it works out. And I probably hear more from people that it doesn't work out from, because, you know, you don't troubleshoot unless you have a problem. And so I do get, you know, and egg whites are notoriously difficult to predict. And so people can get all kinds of random results. So to hear that it worked, I'm so happy.
Absolutely.
Ooh, Rickwin's doing kombucha. Latest batch of kombucha is in the fridge after 2-day fermentation for several days. That's awesome. I made kombucha for a while back in the day. It was back before my husband liked it. So he thought it was like, oh, it's like drinking vinegar. It's so gross. And you know,
like it's like delicious vinegar.
And then he is now obsessed with it. It's his favorite thing. And I'm like, well, you should have liked it back when I was making it.
Right.
He wants to get into making it now.
I loved doing kombucha. That was one of my favorite ferments that I did.
Yes. Okay, so Chris says the salt mine tour is news to him. Yeah, I haven't told you yet. I just got the confirmation that I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be awesome. Sincere, that's gonna be our new word. Sinceriously,
y'all. We might need to write that down. Where's the pen?
Title. Yeah, we should have a podcast called Sinceriously, y'all. Oh, bad tea drinker here. Yeah, same. 18 creamy containers.
That is practically 8,000, Chris.
Yes.
I wasn't far off.
Yes, that's creamy boss level.
I do think that they have to have them, though. It's more of a business requirement. Like it's necessary for development to discern, does this flavor creamy or does it not?
Yeah.
I feel like fish chum might not creamy.
Oh, that's true.
I could be wrong.
You are behind. I have a 7-in-1 creamy with 18 containers and a creamy deluxe with 14 containers. I love my creamies and I need to buy stock in Keto Chow. Seriously.
100%.
Well, you know what?
Publicly traded, we'd probably also have stock.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good reason to become an influencer, is the Keto Chow benefits. So recommended. That's my life hack for you.
But the benefit isn't just like being able to taste test the new flavors and share them. The benefit is that you get to be BFFs with Chris and Miriam.
Exactly. And then you get to go visit them in Utah in
That's
May.
right.
Okay. Andy says, latest creamy obsession is chocolate malt, and I'm almost out of those. Oh, I know.
Oh,
I still
no.
have a stash of malt, which obviously I can't have right now, but I have a stash because I think it's my favorite flavor.
Really?
I think so.
That is awesome.
I mean, it's hard to compare apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
My two favorites still hold strong, hold steady at chocolate core and blueberry pie.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I can't unlove them. That's just the way it is. There's nothing they can do about it either.
Blaze says that she's made creamies with core and tallow. I haven't done it with the tallow yet. I want to try it. I did it with coconut milk, and that definitely made it really creamy. Kind of the difference between heavy whipping cream and butter.
Yeah.
But it was really good with the coconut milk, but I do want to try it with the tallow too. Yes, it was like bed rest. It's like, no, I have to do something. It's bad. Reese has got to go to work. Ran Can Cook is here from Salem, Oregon, neighbor. Let's see. Corey says sending good vibes from Winnipeg. Awesome. Let's see.
I'm so glad that you're responsible for all the comments, because trying to manage the comments last time, I was just like,
I know it can be a little bit overwhelming because I don't do well with reading and talking at the same time.
Oh, same.
Trying to think about reading the comments and like listen to you or like
it doesn't work. When I'm reading things, I will automatically try to inflect the way that I think the statement should be inflected. Or like, trying to read with some level of emotion. And there are moments when I'm like, I'm reading it super excited. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that was a downer. That was not the right way to read that statement at all. Or reverse, read it as a negative. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, positive. And you're like, oh, maybe I should just like read it as just like normal and then talk about it after the fact.
True. Yeah, Jello tuna salad must have been a hard times meal. That would be hard times on top of hard times.
I just think that you would do better to just do the tuna on its own with the mayonnaise and then just do the Jello on its own.
Keep it separate, people.
Yeah, there's a reason why they created the divided plate. There's a reason for that. Some things should not touch.
Like eggs and pickles and coffee.
Yeah. Although eggs with like pickles to turn it into a deviled egg, totally down with that.
Yeah.
But
it is amazing what things go together and what things don't. Like some things that go together, magic. So like peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and chocolate, bacon and eggs, like
bacon and chocolate.
Magical. And then other things, it's just like horrific. And it's a combination because each thing on their own, great.
Yeah.
Together, horrific.
Right. Pickles, coffee, and eggs solo or individually, they're all
perfect. Yes. We're on the wrong side. That's because Lindsay showed up before I did today. Whoever shows up first gets to be on that side.
I very rarely can show up first, but I snuck in there and I was like, I win.
You did win. 18 equals 8,000. True statement.
Always and forever.
Ooh, Rand Can Cook is going to be at the meetup in Utah. Awesome.
Very cool.
Cannot wait. Not even Miriam owns stock in Keto Chow.
I knew that.
Wow.
I do feel like it is advantageous or beneficial to Keto Chow as an entity to not go public. But if it did, I'd scoop up what I could. Of course, I probably couldn't afford any of it, but there we go.
Oh, Dustin has 7 containers for his Ninja Creamy, but no room in the freezer. Yep, same.
I find that is definitely the issue. We have, a freezer that's got cow in it. And so as we eat down, I'm like, ooh, we're getting to the point where we could add a couple creamies. And then I get nervous, like how many creamies high can you stack in one shelf before, it topples over.
If it toppled over inside there and you didn't notice it until you opened, that would be bad news.
Would be so bad.
Don't do that. Oh gosh. Yeah, I've seen the Vulgar Chef online, and it's not something I want to ever watch. Never.
Giant mayo gummy bear.
That's disgusting.
I have questions, sir.
I don't. I have no questions. I want to know no more about it.
I don't want to know how you're doing it. I want to know if your state of mental being is okay.
No, definitely not. Definitely. Oh yeah, here. Yes. But see, you have the power to do that too. So see, I gave Lindsay power a few weeks ago. I made her a co-host on the whole thing. So now she has full control and power, and it's honestly terrifying.
It gets confetti. Oh no, but I've got to go back to my chat. Hey, listen, Chris Bear is accurate on this one right here. A splinter could come to equal cancer. I mean, that's Dr. Google for you.
They could have some of the same symptoms, obviously. Pain,
inflammation.
Yeah, cancer.
Soreness or sores that will not heal, wound not healing properly.
Yeah. Cancer.
I mean, it's possible.
Always cancer. Oh, that's see, there's great things about the internet, and then there's not so great things about the internet. Sometimes I wish, I just didn't have to know anything or try to figure anything out, and I could just go to my doctor and everything that they told me to do made me healthy. That's it. That would be nice.
Yeah. But also, I'd rather just be healthy and not have to go to a doctor.
Right.
Doctors are for the sick, not for the well.
Right. Well, preventative medicine is a thing.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much preventative medicine you can do with diet and exercise and lifestyle. Yeah. Lemon and coffee. That doesn't sound good.
I don't understand the premise.
Yeah.
I thought people claimed that coffee was acidic, so why would we add more acid to the coffee?
I don't know.
I want to know where this came from.
Yeah.
Mayo on the Jello, Amber.
That's so gross. Yeah, I remember like half of a canned pear and mayo and maybe Jello as part. I don't know, but that was a thing, and makes me sad.
So I know when you are baking a cake, like a boxed cake from the store, pre-keto type of situations, you can substitute the oil and egg with mayo in order to create that cake. Like, it's possible.
Yes.
And it's more likely to be palatable because of the fact that you're not seeing the mayonnaise in the cake. And I love mayo. Like, that is probably my number one condiment of all time. But also, like, I'm not eating it in Jello. Like, I'm not going to make a keto Jello where I use, some monk fruit to sweeten it and some flavor oils and some mayo. I'm not doing it.
No.
Although now that I have the idea, I might do it.
Did you see Dustin tried to do something? What was it, Dustin, that you did with mayo? Oh, you tried to make was it a pudding? Did you see that?
No.
That was pretty gross because it all like separated and it was all oily. It was really bad. It's really bad. Oh, Suzanne's going to be at the meetup too.
Yay!
Okay. Maybe it was a Southern thing. He was from Oklahoma. Yeah.
Nope. That's not a Southern thing. That's a Midwest thing. They put Jello in everything, and they put everything in Jello.
Right.
So I think I'd look further back on the family tree.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
I
Tried to make the pudding with the mayo and keto chow. Yeah, that was a waste of keto
oh,
chow.
oh, we need a moment of silence for that serving of keto chow, RIP.
Yeah, seriously. Um, I remember wacky cake. Did you ever make wacky cake with mayo?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Is that the kind where it's just like 2 ingredients and all of a sudden it turns out?
I don't remember. I think it was just wacky because it had mayo in it.
Oh,
I don't
I
remember
can
that.
I can remember reading about things that are considered like wacky XYZ just because it was like, like Great Depression type recipes where it would
Right.
turn out with like not your typical ingredients. But
Yeah.
I have not tried wacky cake,
Uh-oh.
and given the fact that I don't eat the sugar flour things anymore, I highly doubt that I will attempt it at any point.
You could try a keto wacky cake.
I'll have to go research that one.
Next grade here on the YouTubes. The Jello thing is out of control in Utah. Yeah. Lots of potlucks, lots of Jello. I
Hey,
don't it's
but
not
funeral
much
potatoes, those are the bee's knees.
the what? Funeral
Funeral
potatoes?
potatoes are
Oh,
the
yeah.
bee's knees.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to like casseroles. Casseroles kinda get a bad rap.
They do get a bad rep. I love them.
Like, "Oh, it's so weird," but a lot of casseroles can be great.
And
You
it's
should make
like all
those.
in one dish. You just scoop, you
Mm,
serve, and you move on with your life. What? I love it.
so good. All right, well, we are an hour in. What what is this?
Yes,
Oh,
I
Friskies
remember
make this
that.
yeah, Friskies in the Jello.
Yeah, it's kind of
So
crunchy.
gross. Um, oh,
Classic cinema right there.
yeah. Um,
Portillos.
chocolate cake. Oh, okay, and had mayo. See, that makes more sense to me to put mayo in a cake because it's just oil.
And eggs.
Like, is I don't know if it's really better than just using oil and eggs, but it makes sense that it would work in that.
I think the value add is
Dollop
that,
of it on something is like, no.
yeah, I think the value add is that you have, like, you can buy store-bought mayonnaise and it's shelf stable until you open it. So
Yes.
it's like you could have that as part of, your like backstock or
Sure.
your, like backup food source or supply, and you can still do things with those.
Yeah.
Like make a cake or use it in place of if you just don't happen to have chickens with fresh eggs coming out your ears. Uh,
Like some people.
like some people.
Uh,
But
yeah. All right. Well, that's enough mayo talk for today.
everybody go try some Jello
Seriously.
mayo molds. I feel like
Oh, so bad.
it's mellow molds now because it's made with mayo.
Oh,
Mallow
God.
molds. We're getting weird. Okay, it's time to go, people.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week,
Yes.
same time, same place. And
Yes.